Peter the Apostle, also known as Saint Peter, was a significant figure in the early Christian church and one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. Peter was born in the fishing village of Bethsaida on the Sea of Galilee and was originally a fisherman before being called by Jesus to follow him. Peter was one of Jesus' closest companions and was present at many of the most significant events in Jesus' life, including the Transfiguration, the Last Supper, and the Garden of Gethsemane. He was also the first disciple to recognize Jesus as the Messiah, declaring, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Matthew chapter 16 verse 16. One of the most well-known stories involving Jesus and Peter is when Jesus helped Peter from the sea. The story is recounted in the Gospel of Matthew, 14:22-33. According to the story, Jesus had just performed a miracle by feeding a large crowd with only a few loaves of bread and fish. After this, Jesus sent his disciples ahead of him in a boat while he stayed behind to dismiss the crowds. While the disciples were crossing the Sea of Galilee, a strong wind arose and the waves began to toss the boat. In the early hours of the morning, the disciples saw Jesus walking on the water towards them. At first, they were frightened, thinking it was a ghost, but Jesus reassured them that it was him. Peter, always impulsive, asked Jesus if he could come to him on the water. Jesus granted his request, and Peter stepped out of the boat and began to walk on the water towards Jesus. However, when he saw the wind and the waves, he became afraid and began to sink. Peter cried out to Jesus for help, and Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying, "You have little faith, why did you doubt?" Matthew chapter 14 verse 31. Jesus then helped Peter back into the boat, and the wind died down. This story is often interpreted as a demonstration of Peter's faith in Jesus, as well as a lesson on the importance of trust and faith in God. It is also seen as an example of Jesus' compassion and willingness to help those in need, even when they falter. After Jesus' death and resurrection, Peter became a prominent leader in the early Christian church. He is known for his role in the establishment of the church, preaching and evangelizing throughout the Roman Empire. He was a central figure in the spread of Christianity to non-Jewish populations and was instrumental in the conversion of many Gentiles to the faith. Peter was often portrayed as a charismatic and impulsive leader, but he was also deeply devoted to Jesus and to the early Christian community. He is known for his letters to the early Christian churches, which are included in the New Testament and offer guidance on matters of faith and practice. Peter's relationship with Jesus was complex and often tested. He famously denied Jesus 3 times before the crucifixion, but he was also the first to proclaim the good news of Jesus' resurrection after the tomb was found empty. According to tradition, Peter was martyred in Rome during the reign of Emperor Nero. He was crucified upside down at his own request because he did not feel worthy to die in the same way as Jesus. Peter is venerated as a saint in many Christian denominations.